Good morning. Welcome to LoveBabz, Love Talk. I'm Babz Rawls-Ivy. It's Friday, Friday, Friday. Happy Friday. Can you believe we made it? I can't believe it. So much going on in the world. I can't believe it. And for all you people who are praying for snow, go to Dairy Queen. You can get a blizzard at Dairy Queen for a couple of dollars. You want a blizzard so bad? Get your little selves a Dairy Queen and stop stressing the rest of us out. It's cold. Although it's going to be about 40 degrees the next couple of days, but we might get a little snow in the morning, dusting, to make the babies happy. They are desperate for some snow. Not me. I'm old. When you're this age, you don't want it. I'm going to tell you right now. So, uh, woohoo. So before I get into national news, I'm just going to catch up on some local news. The Union, Maya McFadden has a piece up on New Haven Independent. And I'll go to the inner city in a minute because our paper is out hitting the streets. And Coach Salisbury is on the cover. The annual tournament that raises money and does all the stuff to honor him and all that kind of stuff. So he's on the cover. Ife is inside the fold somewhere, the New Havener of the year. It was a tough one between her and Salisbury. But I figure since Salisbury is we want to give him his flowers, all the flowers now. So, and 800, almost 1,000 people showed up for that tournament, which is always a big deal. He's such a lovely, lovely man. But Ife is in there with a big full page, her picture, the whole thing. So thank you, New Haven Independent, for letting us share stories of interest to the Black and Brown community, in which we have readership. So that was nice, very, very nice. It's Friday, and it's the end of the week, and the weekend is upon us. Um, Happy Founders Day coming up Saturday. The AKAs are having their, Founders Day celebration, like a little cocktail soiree. And oddly enough, I'm not going to be there. So I have hung up my gala party clothes for a little bit because I ran rough hard all season. So I put everything down and, put away the eyelashes and the lipsticks and all the fancy clothes and everything. I mean, they didn't go anywhere. It's just that I'm not going to be in them for a little bit. So I just can't go to one more. And I love Dory Dumas and all my Divine Nine, AKA sisters. I love them and they know I support them always, always. But I had to sit this one out, literally sit this one out. So anyway, more local stuff. I talked about if you want to read about the union and their fight with the schools, the Haven Public School System. I don't even know if it's a well, yeah. If you got the union involved and they marching, it's a fight. So they're out in the cold weather and they're there. And then Malone is sworn in as the GOP voting registrar. Okay, whatever. Bipartisanship, my butt. Uh, let's see. Lalabella is 25 years old. If you've never eaten at Lalabella's, it's the Ethiopian restaurant right there on Temple. And before the pandemic, I used to go in there all the time for they have a buffet. I don't know if the buffet has returned because I haven't been in there since the pandemic. But if you're in the mood for some African fare, they're the oldest one here in town. And when you go in there, if you really do feel like you're stepping into, the onto the continent, because it's all moody in there and dark and lovely and smells good. And so if you've not, and they have a food truck. So most people I think know them by their food truck where they hang out up there on Prospect and where the Yale Whale is. So you see them there, I guess. Yeah, you see them there. So I don't mess around with the food truck too much, only because it's very difficult because, they use clarified butter. And so when I'm in the restaurant, they can make stuff without mixing things, getting. getting me all caught up like that. But I did love buffet. I'm gonna call them up and see if they still do buffet. Because if they do, I'll pop in there. I'll get something to eat, you know. But anyway, high five to Lalabella, you know. Lovely, lovely to see that because there's some restaurants come and gone, come and gone, come and gone. But they've they figured out a way to you know, stay. So uh oh, I didn't know Saturdays they have Charlie Sutton plays the piano there. So that's nice. So I mean, it's a great if you want to take somebody on a date, that's a great place. And if you've never had Ethiopian food, it's a wonderful place. So go, you know, get you some injera, all the stuff, the collard greens, the things, you know, chicken dishes, all of that. So I am a fan, and I haven't eaten there in a while, but uh, uh, what mayor? You expect this mayor to learn anything other than who he is? Are you kidding me? He's not interested. So, so yeah, you could go and have spinach and potatoes, the Costa. I mean, they got a whole menu up. So if you want to try it, if you want to try your hand at making some Ethiopian food, this might be the good dish to do it. You know, this might be the dish. So anyway, high five, Lalabella. Now I'm compelled to go in there sometime soon so I can um, have some Ethiopian fare. Thank you, Liz, for writing this wonderful little story. It's so Liz Grace. It's so colorful and pretty. So if you're up on the New Haven Independent site, I uh go. Just go. Don't even worry about. You'll recognize stuff. You'll recognize food. You know, you know, these people who don't want to try other foods from around the world get on my nerves. They really, people who don't want to try other people's food get on my nerves so bad. You know, because everybody's got, you know, rice is a universal staple in foods across the world. There's rice from all over the world, right? In different places. And rice and beans. Every culture has some kind of rice, some kind of beans, you know, that kind of stuff. And then whatever the meat is. This is about everybody has some kind of chicken dish or some kind of vegetable dish or some kind of dish that you could try. You know, I'm not into eating exotic game. I don't do that kind of stuff. But I will eat, you know, food from around the world. I like food from the continent, and the continent meaning all the countries in Africa. They all have a different way of cooking and spices and all of that. You know, like jollof rice is different in Ghana than it is in Nigeria, than it is in Senegal, different in Joburg, Johannesburg. So everybody has their version of jollof rice, and they will argue the point. I have been in conversations. Now I just like them all. I was like, okay, I like everybody's jollof rice. I'm an equal opportunity jollof rice eater. I just want people to know that. I'm not picking no sides, brothers and sisters on the continent. I mean everybody's jollof rice. I like everybody's jollof rice is mwah, chef's kiss. All right. I'm not trying to get in trouble with Nigerians, Ghanaians, Senegalese. I'm not trying to get in trouble with none of my African sisters and brothers because they will be showing up here with all kinds of jollof rice for months. So I'm not gonna. I eat everybody's jollof rice. If there's some Chinese in Nigeria making jollof rice, I'm eating it. I'm gonna tell you right now. I don't want no trouble. No trouble. I'm very UN over here. Listen, I like it all. I like it all. So I like food from around the world. You know, some foods are better for me than others. Like, you know, but I did find in a couple of places in Italy in parts of Italy, just about everybody has some kind of vegan, plant-based way to prepare traditional meals. And that is so reassuring for somebody like me. And I always have to check people because they think like I'm like sympathetic to not eating animals. No, I have a dairy allergy that'll kill me. So I've been on death's door one time too many. Ah! So so I have to be very I have to play I have to I gotta be like Columbo. I gotta ask all the questions. I gotta ask all the questions that don't make sense to backdoor into asking questions because people will just say yes, no. And I'm like, well, did you use butter for this? Did you use butter for that? Did you use ghee for this? Did you use ghee for that? And I have to get to the heart of it. Otherwise, I suffer greatly. And I'm too old to be suffering. So I'm good. So I say all that to say that I found a couple of places in Italy that make traditional Italian meals with vegan, plant-based butters, plant-based cheeses, and all of that. And they are very serious about it. Very, very serious about it. They want the traditions of their food to be authentic, and so they've made their own. So all around the world, there's places. There are more vegan restaurants in Paris that I didn't even knew could exist. Because Paris is code for butter. Everything's butter. The streets are paved in butter. So So imagine my great hope. And I did my research before I went over. So they had so many vegan restaurants, it was wonderful. Some were closed, maybe one or two places I wanted to go to. But I did good. I ate good. I didn't suffer. I didn't, you know, I was very, very careful. Even when I went to the bistros, when you sit out at the cafes, I mean, I could just order some French fries, some frites. you know. And most people speak a modicum of English, so it wasn't like I was just like, in a stranger in a strange land. And, people were around all the time who spoke English, and you know, and now that you have a phone that you can translate in real time, there's no place that you could not go and not get around. I don't have the fear of that, so you know. I really don't. So everywhere you go, uh, for me, I eat everybody's food. I love it. So I don't go to foreign countries and go to McDonald's. I don't care if their McDonald's is very different than the McDonald's here. It's all McDonald's. I'm not about that life. If I go to a foreign country, when I go to a foreign country, I like to eat in the mom and pop places, the small places, where the locals go. You eat where the locals go, you bound to get some good ass food. So I'm just saying. That's just what I do. Now I know people who get across the continent and get across the pond and there's a McDonald's, there's a Chipotle, I must have it because I can't eat this food. I don't travel with those people. Trust and believe. I don't travel with people who whine and carry on like that. Because my besties, we can't wait. We get off the plane running to local restaurants. If it looks remotely like a commercialized chain, we shun it like we're vampire fighters. We get off the plane and we run it to the local watering hole. Not really. That's what we do. So I'm just I'm just you know, whatever. So anyway, I just thought I'd share my particulars around eating. So. High five, Leslie Plateau. She's bringing the state of the people, Teachers Union Press, Leslie uh Plateau slams local roadblocks. Good for her. She is badass. She's a reasonable woman too. You know what I mean? Like you can't call her unreasonable. She's a very reasonable, smart, thoughtful, thinking woman. And she's got a good grasp of these matters, you know. So high five to her. And I'm glad she's in that role, because she calls for a progressive tax reform for statewide Connecticut for all address, for all, for all. for all. So high five, Les. I got you. I hear you. Then there's a piece up there, eviction okayed after oral lease warning. This is pretty tricky. I might wanna read this a little bit closely because this is a little challenging. A state judge approved the no-fault eviction of an Edgewood family after cautioning both landlord and tenant about the quicksand-like perils of oral rather than written leases. Yeah, I get that. I get that. So the owner-occupied landlord, Mamadou Torre, and his first floor tenants had an oral rather than a written lease. So, you know, I don't know how they got into court, but they started disagreeing over rent and repairs last October. And the lack of a written lease in place left both parties, but especially the tenants, are vulnerable to abrupt end to their housing agreement. Yeah, so I get it. I get it. I understand that. I understand that personally. So I understand, and it's a tenuous, stressful thing. So spoken agreements between landlord and tenants legally last for only a month at a time. But at any time, if you don't have a written lease, the landlord can say, "I don't want to continue this relationship," and it's their legal right to do so. And that puts you in a very vulnerable place. Uh, and the judge approved the eviction on the grounds that Gabrielle and her family no longer have the right to occupy the apartment. But the judge included in his order a caveat allowing the tenants to stay in their apartment through the end of March if they pay, the $1,100 between now and then. So at least he's giving them some time to like, go head on. So the original lawsuit uh, stated the original lawsuit was started by the landlord, filed by Torres, that they owed rent because of the oral month-to-month rental agreement had ended in November. He wanted them out by December, you know. And I guess they were like, well, no. So the landlord's lawsuit did not accuse the tenants of failing to pay rent, but instead sought to remove them out because the lease was no longer in effect. Okay. So, so yeah. So the filing with the court made her family, Gabriella made the case of why they should not be evicted. And she wrote that she and her boyfriend and their 3-year-old son moved in October 2022, coming to a verbal agreement with Tori to pay $1,100 a month. And in exchange for that rent, she wrote, Tori agreed to make necessary repairs to the subject property with a reasonable amount of time. Okay, so then she accused him of not living up to his maintenance obligations, and she had a serious mouse and roach infestation. So nothing was ever really addressed according to her. And then the rent went from 1,100 to 1,500 starting last November. So, um, so instead of putting aside money for the $1,100 each month for November, December, January, in case Tori decided to accept the previous agreed upon rental amount, it gave up on the proposed hike. So, twisty. Yeah, so anyway. This is a tough one. I feel this personally, although my landlord has been when I call about something, they take care of it and in a very timely manner. Um, so I don't have any issues with things being handled or being taken care of or any of that. I pay my rent on time. I do all the things, But I know that this current relationship that I'm in with this landlord is coming to an end, for a lot of reasons. Some I understand, some I don't understand. So, you know. But this is a lesson. And this is a lesson. And I hope people I mean I see people weighing in on it, you know, whatever. I don't, I'm not paying attention to those comments. But it is a story, and I wonder how many people around the city are engaged in these verbal relationships, these verbal lease relationships, because you find yourself in situations, with all good intentions, and somebody says, this and that and the other thing, and then it changes over a period of time, and no fault of anybody's, but sometimes people change their mind about you being in their spaces or you renting or whatever it is. Circumstances change. So I certainly understand that. So it's just being in that vulnerable place is just hard. And I cannot tolerate being in that space, having to be upended in ways that I don't understand. But I also understand that people change their minds and people's situations change, and unbeknownst to me or to whomever, sometimes it's just, they're just not gonna share with you whatever the particulars are. And you have to be okay with that, so this story is very personal to me, and as I am walking through what I'm walking through. But I keep a very optimistic eye and a very optimistic disposition, even though it is daunting and troubling to me. But I think all shall be well. I think I think all shall be well. One way or the other, all shall be well. Everything's gonna be all right. You know. At least that's the faith and the hope that I'm going to walk through this life with, you know. So yeah. So I say all that to say, uh let me see what else is going on in the world. Don't forget MLK Day at the January 20th at the Yo Peabody Museum, you know. Uh, so if you don't know what to do on the 20th, there's a gazillion things to do. Gazillion. I'm gonna be at Hamden celebrating with the Hamden folks. I am their MC for their event. I'm looking forward to it. And it's not going to be a long, doggone, drawn out program. I'm in no mood for that. I'm gonna tell you right now. So yeah, I'm at the their Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. birthday celebration, hosted by the Hamden Black History Committee and Office of the Mayor. It's gonna be at Friendship Missionary Baptist Church at 26 Edward Street in Hamden. So it's Sunday at 4 o'clock, and they mean to have it be done like an hour and a half. I think they're not trying to be in there all day. So I am their host. I'm delighted that they asked me to do it, and I'm looking forward to it. And what a great way to spend MLK, you know. So, uh, you know, so I'm excited. So if you're in Hamden and you still haven't figured out what the hell you want to do for MLK weekend, come on by Friendship Missionary Baptist Church on Sunday at 4 o'clock, the 19th. That'd be good. And then, make your way to something on Monday if you care to. The Peabody Museum does their annual MLK, Environmental Justice, and the Poetry Slam is going on, all the stuff. And I haven't been in the new Peabody yet. I probably won't go to that only because I don't know. 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 We'll see what happens. We'll see. So anyway, up on the inner city site, we have there's a bunch of things going on. Let's see. There's a piece up there that Paul wrote January 6th on Rosa DeLauro. There's a piece by Brian Scott Smith from Connecticut News Junkie. That was up on January 4th. Let me see. There's a piece up by Paul Bass for the New Haven Independent about Taisha Walker Myers, ready for Trump. Whatever. We'll be ready. And then the paper. The digital paper is up. The hard paper is hitting the streets. I have to go just like y'all do, because now that we don't have a physical office, I don't have access to the papers. I have to actually physically go out and get the papers like everybody else. So, I was at Edge of the Woods. They haven't arrived yet. I was like, well, they're probably there now because I got there too early. I was there on Wednesday, and the paper just went to print. So it probably didn't get there till yesterday. So I'll see it. If I go over there today, I'll probably see it. Uh, there's a piece on Blumenthal, Seeking Security Fairness, Social Security Fairness Act, which is nice. 9 million in flood relief help 500 plus Hartford residents. These natural disasters and disasters. There's the Coach Salisbury piece, which is nice. Big Dog gets the Stetson. The Christmas Spirit, that's in there. Um, uh, Sinead Drawn is the new leader of the Housing Authority. Yay. Elm City Communities. Co-op, the Souls, uh, uh, the folks who performed at the Schwartzman, the three dancers, were at a co-op. Uh, Christmas in the Hill, Dinner and a Movie, Return to the Fairhaven Shelter, and New Havener of the Year, Ife, which is a lovely, fun picture grasping her Baldwin earrings. And then the back page is all this, oh, that's pretty nice. All this MLK stuff. And then, of course, the shout out to my show. So, so yeah, so there's stuff to do. There's church stuff to do. And then there's let's see, the Metropolitan Church, the Metropolitan AME Church, January 20th in Washington D.C. on MLK Day, so the federal holiday for Dr. Martin Luther King. And this is by the National Action Network. So this is Reverend Al Sharpton, and they will be gathering um, to fight for justice, equity, and change. So if you're in D.C., if you want to go down for that, that'd be a wonderful show of support. Up against the up against the new administration coming in, which is frightening on its own. You know, uh, of course, civil rights group opposes New Canaan's affordable housing moratorium. New Canaan don't want no poor people in their town, or they like to believe they don't have poor people in their town. It's one of those things out of sight, out of mind. Because, rich people think poor people come with all kinds of problems, you know, and this is just a housing matter. Like if you house people, and I dare say the people probably in New Canaan, these probably just poor white people who just want to live someplace nice and decent and safe, you know. The people that work for them. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. Who knows? But there's a whole piece up on in the inner city that was written by uh, uh, Neves. So if you care about that stuff, there's something for you to think about and read about. You know, get into it. Oh God, there's so much in this paper. Oh, and then I put the piece on because I wanted to remind people. I put the piece of survivors of the Rwandan genocide who are testifying in Paris at the Paris trials over the 1994 massacres because there's still work to be done there and things still to be brought to justice and all of that. But I just wanted to put it in the paper because I know we have a lot of people who read this paper, who pick up this paper from all over the diaspora, And I for Americans whose attention span is so damn short, we are not, no one is thinking about Rwanda in 1994. And let me tell you, Rwanda has made great strides, reconciliation. They did all kinds of things to sort of put this wretched past behind them. However, there are still things that need to happen. And they are still happening. And I just wanted to put it back in play in people's minds and consciousness that, justice is a slow walk sometimes. Oftentimes, most times, justice is a very, very slow walk. And sometimes it takes generations, as we all know, generations to get justice. So that piece is in there, um, because I just find it important to just remember and to remind, you know, uh, the devastation of that, and that justice is people are still working toward justice for that. That's all I'm saying. You know. There's a piece up in the inner city. Congresswoman Yvette Clarke is pushing for Marcus Garvey's exoneration. Can you imagine? That's a great story. I had no idea. So this is why a black newspaper is necessary, because it's black 365 days and an extra day in leap year. You know, we're not black just in February. And anyway, Black History Month is really for white folks. That's the only time they feel comfortable enough to digest, black matters. And black matters that are, palatable to them. That's the truth. Black people, we don't concern ourselves too much with Black History Month because, we black all year round. And so there's history being made, history being told all the time. So while Black History Month seems to be a time to elevate us and we use it well, it really is for other people to sort of, to discover, what we've always known. So, and then I put this piece in about a 34-year-old black woman makes history as the oldest winner of the Paris, Miss France pageant. And this is the person that goes on to the Miss Universe pageant. I believe that's how that works. Because there's Miss America, and then there's Miss USA, and then there's the, you know, Miss World or whatever it is, whatever it is. But anyway, her name is Angelique Agani uh Philippon, and she's 34, and she's stunning. And they I didn't know this, but they had lifted the age barrier from, like, I don't know, 24 or something. They opened it so that they could get a wider swath of women, you know. So this is the first time they changed the rules to allow women over 24 years of age to compete. So so I mean, listen, these young sisters, these young women, I want a piece of that. So what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? So, so that's some of the pieces that I picked out to talk about at the for the inner city. And then the MLK Day 29th annual Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s Legacy of Social and Environmental Justice 2025. So it's Monday, January 20th from 10 to 4. So, and I'm gonna tell you, there's something for everybody. It's a family event. So take your kids, go for the museum, stay for the poetry, stay for all the things. So they've got a whole day planned from 10 o'clock in the morning to 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So there's a lot that you could partake of. So don't miss out. Don't let this MLK day get by you. The sportscaster Greg Gumbel dies at age 78. I didn't realize he was that old. I grew up watching him on CBS and all the other places. And his brother Brian Gumbel, who was on the Today Show. And then I got the piece on Beyonce Wild's the NFL halftime show with an electrifying Cowboy Carter performance. I watched it. I already talked about this because I watched it, but I wanted to put the piece in the inner city because I think you can go now and just stream it out on Netflix. I think it's its own thing now, without watching the game. But anyway, more people watch that than all the people that watch the Country Music Awards. And these white folks stay saying she ain't country. I don't know how white people fix their mouth to say she's not country. She's from Texas with a Louisiana mama. You can't get more southern than that. Lord have mercy. And Keith Urban is from Australia. So I love it. So anyway, and she brought along this other four young sisters who sing country music, who I enjoy. I follow them now on Spotify, and we all love Shabuzi, the little in the club drinking the whiskey in the club or whatever, pouring another round. I mean, that brother is an African brother. He's just like getting it, two-stepping it. I was like, white folks, y'all got a lot of nerve. Y'all did not invent country music by any stretch of any imagination. The Country Music Awards are just self-aggrandizement for y'all. Stop it. I don't know. The audacity of whiteness is stunning. It really, the audacity of whiteness is stunning. It's like when everybody found out Paula Deen wasn't really making that food, that soul food. It was black women making that soul food, and she was taking the credit. The audacity of whiteness. I understand why they don't want folks to learn. I get it. I get banning books. I get it because the longer you could get away with that foolishness, the longer you could get away with it. Really. And so the more we know, the more we know. And the more we know, the bigger our confidence becomes, the more we stand upright, the more we take our rightful places and spaces, the more we know, you know. This is why reading is so critical. This is why I encourage it. If you're not reading at least a book a month or something, and this is a judgment right here. This is where the judgment part of my day comes in. If you're not reading books, what are you doing? You need to be reading on a regular basis. I don't care what it is. You could read simple ninny-headed romance novels. I love a good romance novel. After I finished the love letters of W.E.D. Du Bois, which is dragging me. But I must say, I must like these kinds of books that wear me down because I'm always reading them. But you got this book. I'm going to finish this book this month. I swear to you, I'm going to finish it. It's beautifully written. Don't get me wrong. It's so beautifully written, but it is hard to the spirit. But it's beautiful. But it's hard to the spirit. So I've left it out on the porch all summer because I started reading it late summer. That's why the color is a little faded because it's out on the porch. This is Elements. This is an Elements book. And I just love the pages. Like these pages are thick, heavy pages. I just love it. So I've got a few more pages and I'm gonna finish this damn book. I'm gonna finish it. Let me tell you. But it's a tough read. It's a tough read. But you got to be prepared. But I like a tough read because I like wrestling with my feelings and my emotions, you know, and what comes up. Like what is that? What comes up? This is why I like talking to Unruh because he gets to the heart of this kind of thinking. I love it. So anyway, Honoré Fanon Jeffers. And have you ever heard her talk? I love to hear her talk. I love to hear her talk. And she's a poet. And she wrote this wonderful, wonderful book. So she's a fiction writer, poet, and essayist. And she's the author of 5 poetry collections. And I'm going to go find these damn books. I'm going to go to a bookstore and order them because I don't think I have her books. I don't think I have any of her books except this one. So, The Age of Phyllis, which won the NAACP Image Awards for Outstanding Literary Work and Poetry, was longlisted for the National Book Award and was a finalist for the Penn Vogler Award for Poetry and the Los Angeles Times Book Prize for Poetry. So she was a contributor to The Fire this time, edited by Jessamine Ward, and has been published in the Kenyon Review, the Iowa Review, and other literary magazines. Jeffers was elected into the American Antiquarian Society, um, whose members include 14 U.S. presidents, and is a critic at large for the Kenyon Review, as he teaches creative writing and literature at the University of Oklahoma. But this book is so, I mean, for her first novel, Jesus. And it was an Oprah Book Club pick in 2021. But man, oh man, oh man, man, oh man, oh man. So, but it's a wonderful read, and it's a wonderful read in the sense that it's a book that you're gonna wrestle. You're gonna read it, you're gonna enjoy it, you're gonna be like, damn. So that's how if a book gives me a damn, I know it's a good book. If I get a damn, it's going down like that, then I know that's a good book. Uh, so my friend Titus Gafar texted me this morning to let me know, uh, that he got 6 NAACP Image Awards nominations for Outstanding Independent Motion Picture for exhibiting forgiveness, and it should. It's a beautiful film, such a beautiful film. It really is a beautiful film. Titus is he's an interesting character, and we talk quite often. We talk quite often, and we text and talk and catch up, and he invited me to the Hollywood screening of his film. With all the people, Issa Rae and Oprah. Da, 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 da. I couldn't go because I thought I was going to go to Paris for the Baldwin thing, and then subsequently I didn't go to Paris because LSAT. So anyway, 6 nominations. So I hope he gets one. And now I got to get him to screen this damn film in New Haven. That's when I reply to him. I did reply, but congratulatory reply. But I'm gonna tell him, listen, you need to screen this damn film in New Haven, and you can do it at Next Haven. You have a whole Next Haven. Let's put the damn film up on the screen and let's go, and then have a conversation. So we'll see. That's what I'm interested in. That I'm interested. I'm very much interested. So anyway, that's where I'm at with the news this morning. So, before I take my break or whatever, these fires in California are massive. Like, if those fires are so great, it would be like the whole state of Connecticut on fire. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's how much loss and damage and people is affected. It'd be like the whole state of Connecticut. And uh we have to reckon with our relationship to nature, and how we live in harmony with nature. That's it. We have to figure out ways to sort of live in harmony with nature. And listen, I'm not blaming. This is not a blame thing here. This is a reckoning in the sense that no one is, I don't think of it as punishment. I think of it as we have to think of ways to sort of live in nature without nature harming us and us not harming nature. And there's all kinds of things that you can do to be ready for these kinds of catastrophic events. No one should be building houses on the sides of cliffs. I don't care how beautiful that view is. You shouldn't be doing it. No one should be building houses so close to the beach that if something happens, if a tsunami hits, you lose everything. No one should be building houses in forest by forest without clearing parts so that fires don't run up to the property. You know what I mean? Like there's all kinds of things that we must as humans do to be good stewards of nature and ourselves, that we have to be thinking about the environment and the change in climate. We can't just continue to be like it's not real. I don't even know what the hell that means. California hasn't had rain in 8 months. Why is this hard for people to wrap their brains around, that this is the prescription for fire? Drought, no water, and people encroaching in woodlands where they're not doing their due diligence to protect nature and themselves. That's the prescription for this catas- catastrophe. And this is not a blame thing. It just means we have to be better stewards of the earth, and we're not. And I feel so bad watching these people lose whole homes and evacuating and the tears and all of that. I listen, it's painful to watch. I checked in on my friends. I haven't heard. I have another well, she's someone I know. We used to be friends. We're not friends anymore for a lot of reasons, but I know her parents lived in Palisades, and I haven't heard anything, and I'm feeling like I might reach out. Like, is your people good? That's really what I have the mind to do. Like, y'all all right out there? You know, because it's tough and it's got to be scary, and you have to be thinking and I would and I get it. You wait till the last minute to see if they could put the fire out before you have to evacuate your family. you know. And Harry and I talk about this all the time. People are not prepared to leave at a moment's notice. I'm not prepared to leave at a moment's notice. And Harry and I talk about this all the time. We talk about preparedness all the time. I sent Harry a piece the other day where this man he is so prepared. He's like, and he freaked me out. And every time I hear these things, it makes me nervous because they're right. And it's almost paralyzing to me to sort of think about this. But he was like, I got this and that and the other thing. I got water. I got rations. I got first aid stuff. I mean, but to the nth degree, like he could be held up for 2, 3 years. And I was just impressed by that because I'm not thinking like that. So anyway, so Harry, when I come back at the 10:15 hour, I'm gonna talk about how to be prepared for stuff. I'm gonna go to the government website, the FEMA website or whatever it is, and it's scary stuff. And it feels overwhelming when you think about it. When you think about what they ask you to have ready and be ready, you're like no. And I was like, and we're not saved because we live in the city. This is probably the worst because everybody's gonna try to get out, and then the highways are gonna be clogged, and the back roads are gonna be clogged. And how do you get out? And how do you hunker down? And who do you hunker down with? Like, what's the plan? See, it's all that kind of stuff. Now, I and I don't think this is fearful talk. I don't think this is. I think listen, anything could shut down something. A good storm could come through, shut down the grids. We could be without lights and power and the whole thing. What do you do? What do you do? What do you do if you don't have any lights or power or access to water? You know. So it's something to think about. And I was listening to these people talk about as they evacuate, they couldn't figure out what to take. That's scary. Do you grab your photo albums? Do you? And so now everybody's got to be thinking about, and people won't, but they should. Catastrophe could happen at any moment. Are you prepared? I'm not prepared. I'm gonna tell you right now. So I'm not telling you like, oh, I'm prepared and y'all are not prepared. Hell no. I've got to muster up enough wherewithal and courage to think about this in a very real way so that I can be prepared. And we don't like to think about it because it's hard. You're like, if I had to, Where in relationship are my family, my friends? Who do I need to gather with? Where do we go? Where do we meet up at? How much rations do we need? So I'm gonna talk about that in the next hour. That's it. Harry, you can join in too. All right, bye. I'll be right back.
Mm, mm, mm. Oh yeah, I'm with this. I'm just gonna sit here laid back to this nice mellow beat, and drop some smooth lyrics. Cause it's 88. Time to set it straight, you know what I'm saying? And there ain't no half stepping. Word, I'm ready. Rappers stepping to me, they wanna get some, but I'm the cane, so yo, you know the outcome. Another victory.